Keegan was a chess player, a really, really good chess player. He was a pianist as well.
Rihanna Millman was Keegan Combs' caregiver, friend, and advocate.
He loved Starbucks. That was like our guilty pleasure.
The 29-year-old who had disabilities and was nonverbal by choice was also enrolled in trade school. Rihanna met him at her community program where she became his support worker.
During that time, Keegan became like family to us. In the days that I wasn't supporting Keegan, I would ask him if he would like to come for dinner or to baseball games or anything that our family was participating in, and his answer was always this little tiny yes.
Eventually, she and her husband welcomed Keegan into their home, and Rihanna became his primary caregiver. He was thriving for 2 years until a treatable accident changed everything.
And when I got in there, Keegan was sitting in the oversized chair, and there was food and vomit. I asked him what was going on, and he just kept saying he didn't know.
She called 911, and despite advice that Keegan was okay to stay home, Rihanna pressed paramedics to rush him to hospital. Once at the Chilliwack General, Keegan couldn't stand and was rocking back and forth, his symptoms brushed aside.
He was profiled like he was either intoxicated or he was under the influence of something, and he just needed to sleep it off.
Then, she says, a series of events unfolded that further failed him. According to a report called Remembering Keegan, despite blood work showing methanol in his blood at 8 p.m., Keegan was not diagnosed for 12 hours. He was supposed to be checked on every 2 hours, but there was nothing on his file for 6. And then
at 3:30 in the morning, he was restrained to his bed, and he was left there unattended until past 7 o'clock in the morning. Nobody checked on him again. And he was left there to die alone, restrained to a bed.
Later, it was found that Keegan may have mistaken windshield wiper fluid for an energy drink. The delay in diagnosis and treatment for his accidental ingestion of poison, treatable if caught in time, led to his tragic death on September 26, 2015.
I had never seen such egregious behavior in my entire life.
She blames anti-Indigenous racism and discrimination for his death.
It's like the perpetual systemic dismissal of the individual because of bias and discrimination. That's the system that we're trying to shift.
Inspired in part by Keegan's story, BC's nurses regulator is working, they say, to dismantle anti-Indigenous racism in BC healthcare. And to a degree, it has the power to do it. The BC College of Nurses and Midwives sets standards for nurses and midwives in BC and has the power to discipline those who fall short, including revoking a license. It reviews all BC nursing education programs and courses that prepare graduates for registration, and it manages and navigates complaints that come into the college. The nurses who neglected Keegan were not disciplined. Johansson says, to her knowledge, a complaint was not lodged, but points to a further barrier in the healthcare system.
So why aren't people reporting concerns? Well, again, we are part of the system that has been causing that harm.
It also introduced a new practice standard for nurses to reflect on their own biases and to call out racist behavior by colleagues. And it's pushing for anti-racism education and training for new nurses.
It took a long time for his legacy to have the impact. The commitment of Fraser Health Authority around addressing systemic racism happened many years after his passing.
Fraser Health, the authority responsible for the hospital, has since apologized and says it's implementing recommendations in the 2020 In Plain Sight report on anti-Indigenous racism in BC healthcare. As for Millman, she's frustrated that change is so slow to come. even all these years later.
We need to start calling behaviors what they are, policies what they are, beliefs what they are. And the quicker we get to that, hopefully the sooner we'll get to a place of cultural safety and humility, but we won't get there until we become anti-racist.
I'm so proud of you.
Angela Sterritt, CBC News, Vancouver.